All right. Hello, everyone. Craig, you're not late. We are late. We're a little bit late in starting. We had some backstage discussions on the topic that we'll be going over today. But hello, everyone. Welcome to the February 21st live stream. And on the stage, I have here
Welcome
with me
to the
Arent,
February.
Neo, and Blarg. Hey, guys.
Hey all.
Hello.
Well,
So quiet. And then in the
No,
comments, we
Ook.
have Craig, and Craig actually threatened that he would be uh, on on the live chats today. So welcome, Craig. We missed you last week, but I presume everyone has their own lives outside of these things. But I did want to also just call out. I didn't get a chance. I meant to send a quick email to John because we haven't, or I haven't heard from him for a while. So I hope everything's okay. I'm just assuming things are just busy on his end. Certainly, things have been kind of busy on my side as well, and I haven't been as active on social media as I usually am. So, especially on Twitter, I've just posted a few things, not too many things. So, on I think on Twitter side, I'm a little bit behind on things, which actually like has kept me behind on some of the current events. Um, like, uh, like the thing with I don't know if you guys heard, but they actually nixed a specific interview that was on on the Late Show with Stephen Corbell
Yeah,
because threats from the FCC and the legal side didn't want to get into any of these kind of trouble. So it's it's
yeah.
basically
It's
the
a
Trump administration putting kind of a chilling effect on this on discourse. Go ahead.
yes. It was a threat to impose a rule which has never once ever been applied to a comedian, um, and is definitely meant to be applied to news programs, but definitely isn't getting applied over on the right. When was the last time that OAN or Newsmax or one of those gave equal time to a Democrat? And you go, applied the equal time rule, and you go,
Well, and
no.
the other thing is like they're not going to apply it to some of the radio shows and podcasts. Well, maybe not, podcasts would be different, but at least on the radio because it's over there. Uh, because those radio shows are overwhelmingly, conservative.
Yeah,
So they can't possibly apply it to the radio shows. But for TV talk shows, where almost all of them right now are against Trump, they want to try to crack down on that.
they apparently they also told Colbert that he couldn't even mention the candidate, and
Yeah,
so Colbert basically said, "Fuck that," and did it anyway at length.
right.
So yeah, it turned into a much bigger story. It was a
The
what was
Barbara
the
Streisand
the,
effect.
the Barbara
The
Streisand
Streisand
effect?
effect.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like who would have even noticed it? Like, yeah,
yeah,
honestly, no one would be paying
yeah.
attention. It's just another politician on Colbert. You know, I generally don't watch the interview stuff for Colbert. It's mostly just the
The
monologue.
monologue.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so therefore it was now part of the monologue, and you
yeah,
just go, so a lot more people heard it.
yeah. And it raised the issue and highlighted the fact how Trump is kind of preferentially mistreating the people who are bad mouthing him.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but like people that insecure about being bad mouthed need more open contempt rather than less.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Ook, how are you doing?
Like, I
It's a
mean,
good.
for me, it's like a consequences be damned kind of thing.
Getting there, getting there.
Oh, now you might be able to see what's going on.
Yeah, I'm. I with the hiatus hernia and the gallbladder playing up. Yeah, things got a bit discombobulated around here. I still got to get my license renewed. Still have to get to the optometrist, get a couple of new sets of glasses. Oh fuck, my hat, right? I don't know whether you can see that.
Yeah, we
See,
see it.
that's all corroded. You'll see the sweat stains, and the band has broken, but it's actually mold in there. Now,
Oh,
this hat is kangaroo leather. It's only 5 years old. And I called up the company and said, I wrote to him and said, hey, look, this thing's not cured properly. It's rotting, it's staining. It's got a 10-year guarantee. What's going on? And they said, oh, you can send it back and we'll replace the hat band for you. And I just went, oh, fuck off. And I've only ever had 3 wide brimmed hats, and this is number 3 in my life. The first 2 were Akubra territories, and they basically last about 25 years each. And I got this. This is an Australian brand hat, to, but it was $100. The Kubras are $350. I've now decided I'm going to work out the finances so I can bloody just buy a proper hat, because you can't go out in the sun here, and Blarg will back me up on this, especially in Queensland, without a hat with a brim at least as wide as your shoulders. You'll just end up with skin cancer or fucking heat stroke or anything like that. So yeah, I'm pissed off.
I've got one of those really trendy caps with the neck
Oh, the Japanese
curtain on it.
war helmet.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Whoops,
Those
that's
are
racist.
those work really, really well because you can just wet the material, give it a bit of a swish around in the air, and then cool. It also is able to pin around the front of your neck to keep
Yeah.
reflections off the water from getting you there. Actually, the only time so I generally don't sunburn particularly easily, not like the person we're
Me.
looking at there. But the only really bad sunburn I've ever had is in that little tiny triangle right there on your chest where the sort of V-neck T-shirt came down, and I put sunscreen on my face, put sunscreen everywhere else, missed this tiny little triangle there, and I was sitting underneath an umbrella fishing, and I go to get back in the car and touch that area. Well, I put the seatbelt on and go, wow, that is pretty sore, and then touch it, and the blisters burst, and you just go, holy crap! That happened while I was just sitting there.
People don't realise that the Australian sun is much more intense UV wise than anywhere else on the planet. It'll fuck you up. And skin cancer. Uh, 3 of my uncles are all pixie ears because they've had from skin cancer that part of the ear removed where my finger is. They just cut them off. And me being a redhead, I was the only kid who would go to school with an Akubra on. It was,
Um,
yeah, you got to. And I've only had 3 skin cancers in my life. Lucky it was on the top of this ear, and they were able to do skin grafts and save it. But yeah, it was sort of like, for fuck's sake, I've never gone out in the sun without my hat on, and I was still going to lose the top of my ear. But some plastic surgery, and I managed to keep it looking normal-ish. See, even the sun here will fuck you up in Australia.
Earlier in the week, I was mentioning
Wait,
that.
Craig had a question. So, is there a
Oh,
higher
sorry.
rate of skin
Oh, fuck yeah.
cancer?
In the world, we
Yeah,
lead.
Australia's got the highest in the world. Yeah, we winner, chicken dinner for Australia
Yeah.
and sun cancer. Even though we've had some excellent ad campaigns years back when I was a kid, there was the Slip Slop Flap campaign that was just fantastically good, little catchy tune, and they bashed the shit out of that thing, and it did work. But yeah, we have some pretty extreme sun cancer rates, particularly the damn melanomas. My grandmother died of a melanoma
Yeah.
eventually.
People don't get sick from skin cancer here. They fucking die left, right, and centre. I'm just going to drop into the chat so that Kiwi can put this on on screen. The paste, there we are. That video, it's only what is it, under a minute? A minute. That video has become people 70 years old and people, 5 years old can sing this song in Australia. If you want to put it on, Q, we don't fuck around with skin cancer. But yeah, I don't think, I mean, for the last 30 years, my grandmother's life, I don't think I saw her, I don't think a month went past without her having stitches from skin cancer being removed. So we take it really seriously. I'm shutting up.
The sun's shining down, so desperate to brown. But skin cancer isn't so hot, no it's not. So if you take a run, or work in the sun, should you sizzle like a sausage? Most certainly not. Be especially careful about small kiddies. Just say these simple words: slip, slop, slap. It sounds like a breeze when you say it like that. Slip, slop, slap. In the sun this summer, say, slip, slop, slap. Slop, slap. Slip on a shirt, slop on sunscreen and slap on a hat. Slip, slop, slap. You can stop skin cancer, slay. Slip, slop, slap. Slop, slap. It's so simple. Slip, slop, slap.
No such thing as a healthy tan.
I was going to make a comment that earlier in the week I was talking, I can't remember who it was to, about Australia being a little bit more liberal than America is, a little bit more socialist when it comes to healthcare, but how Queensland is basically the Florida of Australia at the moment, because we've got a conservative government for the state that have gone and done things like ban access to gender affirming care, basically for kids. And I mentioned that we also have crocodiles, and they're like, "Ooh, it might have been Meep." I said, "Oh, I've got an idea." And unfortunately, I had to point out that most of the politicians are in Brisbane, and and all of the crocodiles hundreds of kilometres north of that. So the most southern that crocs are allowed to get is the Mary River, which is about 5 hours drive north of Brisbane. But and any of the politicians that come from further north, they made it to adulthood, so they're probably not going to be lured into the water with crocs. So, but for those who hadn't seen it, I thought I'd put on one of the best politician and crocodile things of all time, the Bob Catter crocodile interview. You
Oh,
remember this one, Eve?
classic. Fucking classic.
It made it into a lot of Americans saw it as well. It made it to the talk shows and everything. It was brilliant. But I thought I'd share it with you guys. You want to pop that one up?
Final observation on the same-sex marriage debate from Bob Catter.
I mean, people are entitled to their sexual proclivities. I mean, let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned. But I ain't spending any time on it because in the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
Yep, there it is.
That's not true.
I'm saying that holy the psychotic change of face and demeanour there is just one of the most brilliant things of all time. That man's the great Bob Catter, famous for his Akubra hat that he wasn't wearing at the time.
Oh,
But
Chris, when I was looking at the new, they got a new colour in the Akubras. It's eucalypt, and I was showing Crystal saying, "Oh, I mightn't get the khaki. I might go with the eucalypt," And Crystal went, "Well, you could go for the white one." And I just gave her a look, and she went, "You don't like the Bob Catter look?" Yes, horrible.
To answer Craig's question, today's topic is about doxxing. So
yes,
let me
not crocodiles.
post. It's not crocodiles. It's
doxxing.
On. Let's see if I can. I guess I'll just show. So this started with Florida Link trying to use Korean as kind of like as a pejorative in a way.
What?
Which is kind of weird, right? So he kept on like bringing this me, or referring to me as the Korean. So this was in response to my post. So the Korean in denial, eternal separation. So I was like going, okay, Korean, what a stony thing to say, oh child of Adam. And so I kind of kept on making these comments about him, calling him a child of Adam, and this was all during this time when we were talking about that Isaiah 7:14 thing, and it seemed like he didn't really have any real response. So his way to kind of, I guess, get at me is to, and I can't find all the times he said, but he said it multiple times. And so when he kept on doing that, I started making kind of these comments about, him being a son of Adam and all that, and little things that was hinting that I know who he is. And the reason why I know who he is because he insisted before that first debate that I call him on his own phone number, his personal phone number. He's basically like doxing himself to me, so that I know who he is. I'm not that stupid, so I did not call him on my own phone number. I used a burner phone number, and that's why, when he kept on insisting that, I have his number and all that, and it's like, no, that was on my burner number. So it's not like that was something that I was going to keep using. And that number is actually the number I used to communicate with him is gone now. But but because of that, it was very easy for me to find out who he is. First of all, because when he called, his wife's name came up on caller ID. And so, that and lots of other stuff, it was easy to find out who he is. Blarg, I presume you know who he is, right?
I didn't really look
Okay,
particularly.
which is fine.
I'm not sure whether I had the same phone number you had, but
No,
yeah.
it was the same number, I think, because I didn't remember the
Okay.
whole thing, and that's why I actually needed him to post it, because I wasn't sure what it was. But once he posted it, I knew, I recognized the number. So I just didn't remember exactly, but when I saw it, I recognized it. So it is the same number, and if you look up that number, you can figure out who that is, especially knowing that he's from Florida. So based on that, I knew who he was, and my response to here's another one. It's like the sad Korean. So why? What is the point, right? So
Because racism and hate is the point. Hate.
yeah,
It's all
yeah,
hate. Yeah.
yeah. It's just a matter of just finding, like if he knew anything about me, he would have used it against me, right? So I kept on kind of pointing out that, yeah, I know who you are, and if you want to go the route of kind of making personal comments, I could do that, and I'm not doxing him in the sense that I'm not, like connecting him to an identifiable information about him. I'm giving hints to him to let him know, that I know, right? So it was cryptic, but it wouldn't be, possible for someone to just take my comments and say, oh yeah, Florida Link is this particular person, and this is his address, and whatever, unless of course they got his phone number, in which case, yeah, they could do that.
And
So
they get his phone number from the moron posting it himself.
exactly, yeah,
He pulled a
him
G-man in
posting
that
it.
respect.
What was that?
I said he pulled a G-man in that respect.
Oh, what is G-man? I don't know what
You
that
don't want
is
you
referring to.
if you've made it this far and not actually don't know who G-Man is. Yeah, let's
I
just
know
say,
who. I think I know. I've heard of him, but
yeah,
did he out
He's
himself?
self
yeah,
I see.
he
horrible,
has
horrible
self I mean
person.
he's self-doxed more than once.
Oh, really?
So he's
And then there's
self-doxed more
also
than once. Possibly overshared a couple times. Overshared a bunch of things a couple times. I
there's
would
also
pay
our
good
good
money. And I would pay good money. I mean, if he does have like Jamaican, if he does have Jamaican family, to hear them cuss him out in Jamaican patois about about like being ashamed of the family.
Hmm.
I would pay good money.
So, so when he kind of finally figured out that I was sort of referring to, letting him know that I know who he is, so he posted this, stop it with the personal stuff. So I kind of, let him know that, a hint, that the reason why I was doing that is because of, him trying to somehow use Korean as a way to attack me in a way. So let's see. So at some point, he gets to a point where he says, QC better calm down with the personal stuff because others know his real name and where he lives too. So I'm not sure how anyone would know who I am, and what he means by others. If he means like people I know
Yeah,
know who I am.
I'm sure your parents have worked out who you are by now.
Yeah,
It'll come as a complete surprise if they haven't.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, That person.
Yeah, and I don't know if any of you guys know, but others know about you guys too.
My wife will be devastated.
Nah, that reminds me. I just nuked my Reddit and my Twitter. A couple days back. Nah, they were from. They were just moldering from months of disuse anyway.
Yeah, I mean, so Neppy is another person who kind of made himself known because through his Twitter
Over and
account.
over and
He
Because
over.
self-doxed himself
yeah,
on
But
Twitter.
even
yeah.
without his Twitter, he used to use his own name as his YouTube name.
Well, and
So
also
some of
he
the
had
names
his
he
like
used,
his birth date as part of his name, as his handle
yeah,
on some of his handles.
yeah.
So
Like there's a few
that's
people with his
another
name,
easy
but
way.
yeah, as soon as you got his birthday,
Yeah.
it's
So
trivially
I
easy.
yeah, I do see a lot of people who, when they have numbers in their name, a lot of times it's their birth date or part of it or some version of it. I would definitely recommend against that. You don't need to put in your anything that might identify your date of birth, because that's the other way you
What's
could
this?
have people
I,
find out
I
about
don't
you.
smear people's personal info all over.
Oh, yeah. So he says, do you seriously think nobody knows who you are or where you live? Of course, people know.
What what video is this on? Because I've been sort of doing a slight boycott of the atheist experience. I watch the shows, I watch the videos, I hit the like button. I rarely comment or read the comments anymore because, to
Yeah,
me, the whole channel has just they're hypocrites. You know, they have a code of conduct for the callers, but they don't extend that code of conduct to the comments. And the comments in the section in the AXP have become a cesspool of
yeah.
just a cesspool of vile shit.
Well, I
And
mean, like,
yeah,
especially with our favorite,
Laugh a while you can, monkey boy.
when he
yeah.
has
Oh,
specifically called for trans and gay people to be thrown off of helicopters,
and
him and
Well,
buildings
APOT,
he's
off the
called
roof.
yeah,
for
off a roof.
multiple of all of us to be killed as well. He's
Yeah,
literally
Yeah,
said that out loud, written that down.
and Carl Hobson and all that. But yeah, to me, AXP's gutlessness and lack of action on that, on just it'd only take 20 minutes a day, if that, for one person to go through all the comments and remove the ones that just violate YouTube's.
Well, just punt
Yeah,
this ban given posters, and when they come back with another account, ban it again.
like they
It
do.
only takes a few
Yeah,
minutes,
I mean, it
and if
really
I'm not
doesn't have to
mistaken,
be a
you
lot of time and effort. I mean, you
no,
could just have a few people who have mod rights, and it doesn't have to be like they have to get every single one, but enough so that, if you step way out of line, for example, you know, threatening people or threatening doxing, to just punt them, kick them off. It's not going to reduce the engagement because it won't matter whether these trolls post 100 spam comments or just 10 spam comments. The engagement is essentially going to be the same. It's just one person, one account. I mean,
I
when
think
they bring in like 10, 20 alt accounts, maybe it does help their engagement. I don't know, but I don't think it's worth it.
the a fortnight ago, I noticed one of the videos had over 1,000 comments on it. It was about a 5-minute video, and I went down, and I think I lost count at over 700 of the comments were Neppy and Florida on the one 5-minute video.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just sort of, this is fucking ridiculous.
I mean, to the point where Neppy is like crying because AXP hasn't posted a new video yet. He's
Yeah.
just like he's waiting for that new video, right? So he can start spamming. I mean, he really should like get a membership on the AXP so he can like spam the videos before they are made open to everyone,
Oh,
and
the
then he'll be
irony.
happy.
Yeah, that would be hilarious, wouldn't it?
He might actually like it, because then he would be able to just like do all the spamming he wants, and we wouldn't, no one would really be, responding to him or pushing back on him. And then he can say, "Oh, I've won," like he always does.
Can we gift a membership? That's an interesting.
I don't think you can directly give them membership. I don't know,
Yeah.
but the rest of what Florida says here is that, and yes, I do my homework on who I debate, but I don't smear other people's personal info over the internet like you. So Dr. James is funny. Calling Neppy Dr. James, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I also know who, quote unquote, Dr. James is, as we talked about. And I haven't doxed him in the sense that I haven't directly said this person has this name and has this address.
Just like,
No, and neither have I. But I do make use of knowledge of him to make sure that people are aware of the horrible human he is. So yes, you can't find him from the information I give out. But yes, the man has had 143 felony charges in his life so far. Well, sorry, 143 felony charges in just the county that he's in. There might be others. So,
well, and note the thing about Neppy is that he was like explicitly lying, and not was. Sorry, I shouldn't have said he was. He is constantly lying about who he is, his credentials.
oh yeah,
Obviously, when he says he's a theologian, we know that's wrong. And also when he claims he's a genius, we know he's wrong. But when he claims that he's a doctor or that
a medical
he had a
surgeon.
career in physics, right?
He was
That
a
was the
medical
other thing.
surgeon once. And you go, yeah, that's how medical surgeons refer to themselves, just so that people don't confuse them with tree surgeons. Yeah, no, like I know surgeons and they don't refer to themselves as medical surgeons. If they're going to add a qualifier, it's their area of specialty. That's their qualifier. They always just, I'm a surgeon or I'm a, internal medicine surgeon or I'm a neurosurgeon or, the specialty is what they talk about. They don't, I'm a medical surgeon. He was also a 17-year veteran of the Springfield, California teaching something or other, and he was in the Coast Guard for something like a similar amount of time, and he was a member of the CIA for another similar amount of time, and then last week he's like, oh, I'm a physicist, and you go, yeah, that's
I mean, just from what he posts, we know he's not. He doesn't have any
any
background
of
in
those
science.
things.
Yeah.
that's. I mean, I'm not sure anyone's heard of this chap. That sounds like Von Helton scale grandiosity.
Oh yeah, it's not healthy.
I said
He's
Von
there's
Helton.
something wrong with him.
Von Helton.
Also, in terms of like his PhD, he has as much of a PhD education as Kent Hovind. Apparently, he's going around claiming that he has like 3 PhDs. It's amazing how he found all that time to get his PhD when he is so ignorant of evolution and almost every science.
Yeah, well, he's ignorant of everything. Like, what the hilariousness of him trying to answer the question about kinds that I put up yesterday and today. Yeah, he absolutely pathetic. They were simple questions. Is a cat and a tiger the same kind? That's a yes/no question. Waffle, 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 waffle. No answer. So, and you go, yeah. And wolves and huskies, tigers and lions. Yeah, exactly what animals are. And he goes, you know what it is. And you go, well, no. If I knew what it is, I wouldn't be asking, because every definition anyone ever puts up for a kind fails.
Yep.
I mean, online, anyone can say who they are, right? I mean, you could claim whatever, and usually
Yeah,
there's no way to validate that. But at least with, Florida and Nepi, uh, we know who they are, and when they lie, we know that they're lying. I mean, like verifiably lying. But that's not the same as doxing, and I think what Florida was doing in saying that, oh yeah, I know who you are and all that. I mean, it's just another piece of lie. He has no idea. If he did, I think he would post something
yeah,
to
I'm pretty
that
sure.
effect.
And
But
it might be why he keeps insisting people call him to try and get their info.
yeah, yeah,
It wouldn't
he
surprise
he
me.
thinks that
Could
other
do,
people
yeah.
are as stupid as he is. I
Or he
mean,
just wants that
anyone.
bike shed fight.
Say again.
He just wants that fight behind the bike shed.
Yeah, the
He
pretzel
wants to
fight.
make pretzel.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Punch Jesus into people. That sounds
Yeah,
very Christian. It's
yeah.
it's how the
Well,
religion got where it
I
is.
think he wants to wrestle it into people,
Oh no,
shall
he
we say.
basically, he was saying pick whichever way you want to do it. I'll do any of them. So yes, he wants to cause great grievous bodily harm, and then make you believe.
Yeah.
But
I
the
think
best
Luke
time,
has a good point. I mean, I think this was like another thing that, rankled people because of the AXP's trying so hard to keep that tax exemption status. So maybe some of the, their policy is because of this. Considering
yeah.
that now churches don't, at least in the U.S., uh, they don't have to worry about losing their tax exemption status
No, not
by
anymore.
endorsing politicians. So that's gone the way of the dodo, at least
So
with the
hang on,
current administration.
Isn't it?
have they changed the tax? Trump thinks he can bring his own taxes in without Congress, but yeah, I thought you had.
Well, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Oh no, I was just going to say he did get smacked down by the Supreme Court yesterday on
Yeah.
But he
tariffs.
doesn't care. But he doesn't
Yeah, he
care.
doesn't care, of course. Yeah.
No,
The
but
Yeah.
He's repeated them.
the tax exempt status for religion and politics. Yeah, it's weird because from what I can gather, to be atheist organisations get their tax exempt policy on their class by the government is in the same as religion, but not a religion. And yeah, I just can't.
well, then in this case they're just a not-for-profit.
Yeah,
So as a not-for-profit, they can't endorse.
but yeah, it's just the whole change that has happened in the AXP over the last 5 years is really weird. Like they had that host, the ex-Muslim, Ahmed, whatever.
Oh yeah.
They should have done a little bit more due diligence on him. Yeah, he's a bit of a rabid Zionist supporter. That's why he's no longer on the AXP. Some of the shit he was posting in other places. Yeah, they're just falling down. They're
Well, I
just
mean, I
being
think they're
hypocrites.
trying to bring in some new blood. So Justin is obviously a great addition, but I think one of the things that one of the lives that they have on the schedule is to bring in allegedly Ian and Dr. Blitz. So I've been enjoying watching Dr. Blitz quite a bit because I think I have more interest on the science side than on the religion side. And I'll have to say, with the Justin live streams, it's kind of becoming sort of the same because the guys that are calling in really aren't calling in with anything new. It's really the same stuff. And so I haven't, it hasn't been any as interesting to me, but at least for now, the Dr. Bliss stuff is a lot more interesting. Anyway,
Can I
so
kick? Can I kick
yeah,
Diva? Can I kick Diva?
kick him. No,
Yeah, kick him
don't.
out of
Oh,
the.
wow. That comment you can delete.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, come on. I mean, Diva tries to sound like it's actually kind of similar to Orange, trying to sound like they are somehow above the fray or whatever, or being not as much of a bigot. But, when you make comments like, about Matt Dillenti and his quote unquote boyfriend kind of thing, it really, really, outs you as being an outright bigot.
Yeah,
It's
and an
just,
asshole.
yeah, yeah. I mean, come on. It's like, yeah, things like that. And when people are like this, it's just, I mean, I don't have patience. So with Orange Unit, I think I sent some of you guys. Oh, I made a post about it, but he just like kept on kind of coming at me on Twitter, just tagging me on all the MAGA stuff, and
That was
he
weird.
didn't call himself a centrist. But what he did, and Blog, I think you had found it for me. What he did was that he was neither, for or left or
Yeah,
right, and that he
he's
was
neither
quote
left or
unquote
right.
neutral. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
and
was quote unquote
could
neutral.
see both sides without the baggage. And then he demonstrates that he's standing so far to the right, everybody is left of him. Like
Yeah,
he's at the right political pole, so the only direction is left. And you go, wow, that is as far from central as you can get.
Also, the passive aggressiveness in the little twit. Yeah, he's the sort of guy who you'd spend 5 minutes in a pub with, and he you'd slap him across the head and tell him to go drink with the flies. It's fucking whiny little wimpy prick, as
I
far as
don't
I'm
know about
concerned.
that. Tell us
I
about
call them I call them like gremlin, like basically like Peevesy types.
Oh, I was
Gremlins,
going.
basically like gremlins and poltergeists.
Blag would remember this. These slang words. He's a crawler, and yeah, I'll have to
let me
post some
just
old
show a
Australian
little bit
slang.
of the exchange I had with Orange. So, I mean, he kept on like tagging me here. What is the Democrats' position on this today challenge? And I'm never sure. I don't remember what it was about, but it was about some MAGA stuff about immigrant undocumented immigrants. And so I made this comment. So it's like, and so I had said, why are MAGA so confused? So I essentially refer to him as MAGA because he is, right? So he's like going, well, why not ask a MAGA person, just to make it seem like he isn't an outright MAGA. I'm sure they'll say something. Your sudden concern, selective outrage for this matter, is pathetic and also quite likely. So the 3 million deported under Obama had due process, such on. So so then I kind of said, oh yeah, okay, I forgot you're a centrist, in quotation mark, because he's neutral. So he says he never said he was a centrist, and that's just kind of speaking from both sides of the mouth, right? Oh, I'm neutral, but I didn't say I was a centrist.
That's right.
Figures that in
You're neither
your
left nor
mental
right,
inaptitude. Yeah, so he's like mental inaptitude that that would be your conclusion. And so he's like, oh, okay, I'll challenge you to find where I said I'm a centrist, because he didn't specifically say he was a centrist. So I said, I really don't get why your posts to me have these insults, because he's made a bunch of posts where he's essentially making snide insults at me, and it didn't make sense because he was actually like, this is him. Oops, Dasuk. Thanks for having me on the show. It's like he's like all, acting like friendly, and then I remember. So I think he got upset at that video that I had made him, where it was the one about because I feel that way or something like that. Do you guys remember which one I'm talking about? Should I have to?
I feel it deep in my heart. Deep in my
Yeah.
heart.
So I think he got upset at that, and that's what kind of led him to start like being a little more abrasive. So he said, okay, I'm not calling you stupid, but for a guy leading a team of challenging beliefs, when do you challenge your own? It's not an insult. It's a fact, right? Him saying that about my mental ineptitude is a fact for him. So I said, okay, I don't have it, but I basically said, okay, if that's the way you feel, you can kind of, let's just ignore each other. You can go your own way, and I can go mine. And he said, okay, that solution works. And then right after, or like a couple of days after saying that, oh yeah, we're going to ignore each other, it's like, oh, he tags me, and I didn't see what some racist thing that he posted. So yes, in your face. Like, how is that in my face? Whatever. So yeah, so Orange was the one, and we know that Craig isn't someone to say "I told you so," but he was right about Orange. I mean, not to say that I didn't realize it. I tolerated it, but it turns out that's who he was. I mean, in a certain way, it's kind of like how Diva kind of came on and was like going, "Oh no, I'm trying to be all like, I think trying to say claim that he's not a bigot," and then he goes on and say things that kind of demonstrate that he is, right? It's like, it's not what you claim about yourself, but if you behave in a way that's contrary to that, we have to follow with what we observe. You can tell us as much as you want about how you're not a bigot, and then when you act like one, then we kind of have to think that you are. So, are they married now? I mean, that might be. Matt and
I don't know. Arden.
Yeah. Hey, Steve-O, how's it going?
Oh,
Hey guys,
Hey, you're
how you doing?
a wild diva has appeared.
Yeah. I wonder if Monkey Boy's in the background there fuming. Anyone notice whether he's commenting?
Well, he's been away for a while, right? I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, we haven't seen him for a little bit.
He's back on his fly in, fly out rotation with
Oh.
one of the mine sites he works at or thing. So yeah, that's why I say he does fit the fly in, fly out lifestyle or timetable that most Australian remote places work on. So yeah, I'd say he's an Australian, but an
Yeah.
expat of some sort, and young, quite young. Not that it's bad to be young, but yeah.
Well, when he's flight out or whatever assignment he's on, does he still have time to read the 50 to 100 pages of philosophy a day?
Well,
Snowball.
I suppose
When
so.
he'd need
He
a
can't.
TARDIS to be able to manage that.
Yeah, he can't. He doesn't have to do his manly duty and pleasure his wife sexually or something. That was a weird
Okay,
flex.
Well,
so
he's
I
probably doing
want
his manly duty by flying out of the place. That probably brings a great pleasure.
so Diva, when you asked about the situation, how is that wrong? It's wrong because you said Matt's boyfriend. That's misgendering. Because Arden isn't Matt's boyfriend. That's how you're a bigot.
And
And you
as
know
I
damn well.
said, it also becomes wrong when it's plain when you're using it as a Trojan horse to insert your prejudices into the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's literally you explicitly, using that as a kind of a bigot, a
Diva,
singling for your bigotry.
you know damn well.
So,
Diva, at this point, just shut the fuck up.
yeah. So we can ignore him for the rest of his call. I mean, if maybe you guys can put him in a timeout. If I block him, it actually kicks him. So maybe just putting him in a timeout would be fine.
Yeah, timeout deletes all his things, but
Oh,
yeah, if he
does it?
keeps
I mean, it's kind of.
yeah,
I thought
it,
timeout really
it is
just
a
makes it so
pain.
he can't post. Yeah.
No, it
It's
deletes
not very
everything
good.
he's posted as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I don't.
it's
I mean,
somewhat
I
annoying.
want evidence of these guys being toxic. So I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be
Diva, you've
him.
made yourself
So
look stupider with, stupider, with all this idiotic kid brother energy.
yeah.
You're free to leave.
So anyway, um, Diva's got their knickers in their dress again.
And to
So
be frank, Diva, at first, I have to admit that I thought, look, I thought pronouns were pretentious at first. And, oh yeah, those claiming to have the truth with a capital T are lying to themselves.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you've never known a person who is trans, it's like never knowing a person who's gay. They never make the choice. It's not a choice. It's not a personal, a thing that you do on a whim and then change your hair color this week and then dye it back to its normal color next week. It's not a thing of that nature. It's a thing that is imposed upon them by their very biology, not by mental condition. It's biology driven, and they don't get to choose. And I think you'd find that almost every single one of them, if they had the opportunity to choose, they would definitely not choose to walk that path. It is a shitty path to walk down, and no one wants it. But, you're dealt the hand you're given. Some people are born short. Some people are born really tall.
Why did your
You got to
God care
deal.
so much about sex, Diva?
We've showed you the science that proves that it's not a choice, but you can't stop hating. Yeah, to turn the other cheek and love thy neighbour. No, you're going with the I want hate because I like hate part of the world. So that's what makes you a bigot. You know better, but you refuse to do better. That's my
Yeah.
rant. Someone else can
So,
finish.
yeah, it says like the message is deleted when I put him in a timeout, like you said, but I can still
Yeah,
view the deleted messages. Or at least I can.
yeah,
So,
we can't. So
okay,
that's the difference as the
that's fine.
owner. Yeah,
Yeah,
What
I
is it?
mean, it's
Only the
like,
owner, or I mean, can mods also view it? Because
no,
hmm,
I'm a mod,
it's like not even
so
like leading mods or managing moderators, because I think that role is there as well. Hmm.
It's an admin level thing, so I don't think any of the mods have that.
I don't know. I mean, anyway, so the topic, the actual topic was, just in terms of doxing. One of the other aspect of doxing is like for Nepi. Um, it sounds like he may have been recording people in his services where he talks about how he recorded speaking in tongues in his service. Uh, I mean, one thing is like,
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah,
I recall that. Yeah.
I'm
yeah. He said
trying to find
he's
where he
recorded
posted it.
himself. Yeah, and so the question is like, is he recording it surreptitiously where people don't know that they're being recorded? Um,
He made
I
he made the
assume
comment about a
that.
small recorder, which would imply that it's able to be hidden.
Well, I mean, it's possible that he's doing it just so that he has a recording himself. I know that a lot of churches they actually record their services, but I'm talking more mainstream churches. It seems like I mean, he's going to churches where people are speaking in tongues, or
He's a
or
chicken.
maybe
He
he's
goes
the
to
only one speaking in tongues during service, and
no,
people are looking at
he's a
him
church
like
of
he's
God.
crazy, but they don't want to say anything.
He goes to a church of God, so he's Pentecostal.
Yeah, I presume so. Uh, I mean, these like the speaking in tongues thing is kind of you sort of have to. There's a little bit of like group dynamics where if a bunch of people, especially if people in leadership position, are just saying crazy stuff, just like unintelligible stuff, and that is kind of presented as them being more Christian, other people are likely to follow, where they're just going to make up stuff, make up things, and
Well,
call it
they all
speaking in
make it up
tongues. Yeah,
because
yeah, of course.
who was the I can't remember who was saying about it, but there was a person saying that when they were going and were first asked to do that, they were told by the priest, you know, just pretend, fake
Yeah,
it till you make it.
yeah.
Everyone else does.
I think that was Bulgaria and Seth,
Oh, yeah,
who said, "Yeah, they just everyone fakes it. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, that's it, and yeah, and then you don't feel so stupid because everybody else does it as well.
yeah. I mean, it's if someone is speaking in tongues and they're able to translate that into something where it's something that no one would know, then it becomes a little more believable, right? If they're speaking in tongues and somehow they can figure out what next week's Powerball numbers are, then I'm going to say that might be supernatural. But when these guys are speaking in tongues, uh, they are not saying anything. So when Nepi has the quote unquote translations of him speaking in tongues, it's very strangely like it's some kind of like King James type of words or
Well,
phrasing.
essentially, he's just making up.
Linguist.
He's making up words
Yeah,
for made-up words. You go, oh, the irony! It's a
Yeah.
double stack of turd, two different flavors.
Oh,
yeah. So it's very hard to believe that uh, it's actually real. But going back to the doxing thing, so the question is, if he was doing something illegal, uh, should we contact like his pastor, for example, to say, yeah, this guy is, making recordings of your church services, possibly without your congregation's permission.
Yeah, and we were concerned by it. That was the thing I proposed. That is it a what do people think about that? And no, it isn't doxing because that is not putting his information out into the public sphere. That's the opposite. It's
Yeah.
a very private sphere, and so
Yeah,
going in
I
the
mean,
other direction.
my concern wasn't the doxing. It's about kind of like stepping into someone's real life, from their online persona.
But in some ways, the problem is that people behave the way they do because they think they can get. There's no consequences for their
Yep.
appalling
That's
behaviour.
Yep.
yeah, that's the that's the big yeah, that's the big thing. It's like,
It's a
a lot
tough
of these
question
obnoxious
because
people. For me, it's like a lot of these people need to face IRL consequences for that level of stupidity.
Yeah.
and you go,
But
oh, you're trying
however,
to cancel me, and you just go, well, if you weren't you weren't behaving the way you were, there's nothing to tell people. If all you do is you get on and you talk about how to garden, how to grow orchids, nobody is going to care. But if what you get on and do is threaten to murder people by throwing them out of helicopters,
yeah.
or tell people that you are recording private prayer services that people are undertaking, then that's a whole other thing.
Well, so
It's
let me so there's two parts. One is like, in terms of what Aaron, you were saying is, in terms of anonymity. I would not want my anonymity broken, because especially within the U.S., being identified as an atheist, right, could be negative, to my real life, and I and there might be other instances where you want to be able to say what your opinions are, without it kind of not
Yeah, that's
without
where I
the
am right
social
now.
consequences. I mean, there's both sides to that, right? Because the other side is that because of that anonymity, you can say the horrible things and
It's
think that you can get
yeah,
away with
it's
it.
a catch
Like
22 right
I
there.
think what Blurry you're
Hmm
saying.
Yeah, there is no. It's a trolley problem. Hey, Steve.
Ah, no, no. Well, I
uh,
don't have alcohol tonight, so I can't do it.
so the other side of this whole thing with Nepi is that let's say that we know that someone was doing something illegal. Let's say that he was saying things like how he committed crimes. Like he said, well, I'm going to go through another insurance fraud, or let's say it's like child molestation or whatever. Uh, would we then have a duty to
Oh hell yeah,
report that?
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
different story
Committing
altogether. Yeah,
crimes.
Yeah.
yeah.
The only thing is
Sorry,
like
but
we wouldn't know, right? We wouldn't have real evidence.
no,
Uh,
but you can always give a tip to say, look, you don't have evidence that you could charge someone with.
mhm.
Most times people don't have that evidence. They have, someone's got a gut feel that the
It's
neighbour is a
what's it
serial
called?
killer. They don't
Yeah.
know that there's bodies in the freezer, but they get a creepy feeling by the person, and see them carrying heavy bags of stuff out of the house.
Yeah,
You
that'd
just
be
go, oh,
called reasonable suspicion right there.
yeah,
So
and
I
that's
would
it.
I would
So
say that if I was convinced that he was doing something really illegal, like a felony illegal, where he might actually be harming someone, I wouldn't really have any compunctions of
I would go with that too. Yes.
letting authorities know
well,
Now,
or giving a tip.
if if he is recording people without their permission in Florida, that is a felony.
now if that's
Yeah,
the
the
case,
only thing
yeah.
is like I mean I don't know enough that he's actually doing it, that without permission, for example, or that he's doing that to harm someone. You know, him recording
It
himself
doesn't matter whether he's
speaking in
harming
tongues.
somebody. Like if he's recording himself, but he said he wasn't. He didn't say he was recording himself. He said he was recording at church. So it implied actually that he was recording others speaking in tongues, and he was doing that. So that was the implication that of his comment. And I'm damned if I can find it. He may well have deleted it because he realised actually that is evidence of a crime.
When I added to the email chain earlier, I
Yeah,
did not realize
I
this
just
was
am
the
not
information.
like convinced enough that it's a crime that is happening where he's recording without permission. So that's
Yeah.
where, you know, I said, okay,
I
that's
wasn't
not
aware of
enough.
that.
But
So yeah.
yeah, like I said, if it gets to the point where I'm convinced that he's actually really, you know, have good enough or enough to think that he is committing a serious crime,
If
yeah,
he's
I
admitted
would.
to doing something that is a crime, then you should have no compunctions about reporting
No,
that.
but like
It
him,
wasn't
I mean, that's like,
certain that it was a crime.
yeah, but just like posting on a YouTube comment, oh yeah, I just, you know, killed someone or whatever.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
considered
I
more
have
line
no
of
idea if he's
hearsay
actually being
at that point.
serious.
Like it's more like it's
I
not
mean, he's a
actually
liar.
hearsay, but it's close enough. You know, unless
I
you know
don't
how-
I don't actually even believe that he actually speaks in tongues and he was like translating it, as opposed to just posting that in the comments that
Well,
he's
the
doing
church he goes to, as I said, is a Pentecostal church. It's a Church of God. I know which church he goes to.
Yeah.
I know the name of his pastor. So, yeah, it's it is something that you'd expect to see there.
okay, with this information, here's my take. At least get a
Yeah.
hold of
Like
the
I said,
pastor
I
directly.
at least for me personally, it hasn't crossed that boundary.
Yeah, which is why I sort of proposed to discuss it.
Yeah.
Because it's that
Yeah,
question, you know, is it something that is, you know, where's the lines in this case? It's
That's
not
the hard
obvious.
part.
Yeah, Tuna Man makes a good point where, you know, it is kind of a public place.
Except it definitely isn't as far as the law is concerned. I checked the yeah, because I had that thought as well. Because you go into it, but no, a church service is considered private as far as the law is concerned. You have an expectation of privacy in that place. You're not privacy from the public. You're not private from the people around you,
Yeah.
but you're not private from the people around you in your own home either. But you have an expectation of privacy there. So,
Do you know if his church like publishes recordings of their services?
I don't know.
I
I
presume
can
it's like a
check.
tiny little church.
Yeah, I'll have a little look online.
Yeah.
It's really. I mean, if you wanted to be particularly vindictive and stick with the letter of the law, you could do it, and I wouldn't blame you, a person who did that. But I just think, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's yeah,
They
depends
do
on how you
post
feel.
photos. Yeah, they do post some photos, but I'm not
Yeah, 'cause
seeing any videos.
Yeah.
a lot of them do podcasts, like radio things and all that
Yep.
sort of stuff. So
Right.
it's a great, in Australia, it's a very grey area because inside a church is considered more private than a church service done out in the open. It's sort of, yeah,
If there's actual doors
no.
that can close behind you, then yeah.
yeah. It's
No,
it's
they
a
do. They do publish their sermons. So yeah, maybe it's fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it
Well,
depends on it depends on what. Nah, I was going to say it depends on what he's doing it for, or is he trying to police?
It doesn't actually matter. It's if you're
It's
recording someone without their knowledge,
yeah,
the law is that's it.
yeah. I
It's
think it's it, and definitely shows that his morals are in the toilet again.
yeah,
But
of course.
I don't know whether it's don't know whether it'd be worth mucking around with.
I mean,
Maybe, yeah. I honestly don't know whether I'd be bothered.
it's not something that I die on a hill on for.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like, we're doing it because he's such a bad person
an arsehole. Yeah,
Yeah.
online,
Yeah,
not
I
necessarily
mean,
to like, stop someone from getting hurt.
yeah, or have somebody's life disrupted in any way. So
Yeah, and that's the thing. I wouldn't expect that it would that our good friend Neppy would give a shit if other people are hurt by his actions.
Yeah.
He certainly hasn't shown any
now
sign of that.
this is what I want to
Yeah,
dub it. I
agreed.
want to give you a moment. When in the email chain, I did mention,
So,
like we just talked about, how
all
Neppy is
right.
not
Well,
stable.
uh, the other thing I wanted to mention was like, uh, I don't know how much longer Pirate Chan can keep going with him being just butthurt that I'm not responding to him in the comments. It's just boring. I mean, I've already like responded to his like "what is a woman" thing multiple times, and he got all upset because there was actually a trans man who had engaged him, and I had made my opinions about how disingenuous he is, and the kind of uh, some of the things that he said and his actions, and it seemed to have gotten under his skin or something. So, like in almost all my comments, he's like, posting replies and keeps. Let me see if I can find it. It's just, I mean, it's just kind of sad how he seems so
He's
bothered about it.
he's so hung up on that one thing. It's ridiculous.
It's the
that's
it's the
what
keep
you're
running from me CYB.
Yeah.
what you're
Um,
doing with
if a woman is someone who identifies as a woman, then what other criteria is required to be a woman? CYB. Yeah. So what
Yeah.
else? What else? What else?
I would say the way you're handling pirate is the way we should all handle Florida. And I mean, the best thing
And
for
Neppy.
Neppy is all you have to do is say reported for spam, and according to his ethos and rules of engagement, once a person has reported him, he no longer engages with them, which is why he never answers any of my posts when I do it occasionally, because I told him I
They're
was
really
reporting.
butthurt.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
They're super butthurt about a manual at the moment, aren't they?
Oh
Oh,
my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said,
wow.
Oh,
that's a
they will
weird
not
one.
shut
That's
up.
like the
That one
hills,
has really.
the
like I
hills that
said,
The thing is, though, that
oh, yeah,
is the fundamental hill of Christianity, isn't it? That and the empty tomb are the two foundational pillars. That Jesus was born of a virgin and that he died and rose. Without that,
not
there's nothing.
necessarily, not
No, I mean, you
necessarily.
don't have to have that virgin birth.
No, but it is like if it wasn't there, you could still have Christianity, but the Christianity as we know,
Yeah, it is
um,
Yes,
different.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
it is built into the Christianity that we know.
I mean,
most
So
of
within Catholicism, it is quite significant to the point
yeah,
where they say that Mary was actually born from a virgin, and also they want to say that Mary never had sex, so she stayed pure. So the brothers of James, sorry, not James, brothers of Jesus were not really like biological brothers.
Well, by the logic of Mary being a virgin, Jesus is not of the line of David either.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the other
So,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Either
there
by
was a
Mary
really
or Joseph.
here's an
Yeah.
interesting when I was listening to the Bart Ehrman podcast, misquoting Jesus yesterday while I was roaming around mowing the yard because that's what I do. And he had a really interesting discussion about how Luke didn't believe in atonement. Jesus died for our sins. Apparently, that does not exist in the Gospel of according to Luke. Even though he copied Mark in almost everything, anywhere where that comes up, he's removed it completely from Mark's words. And you go, oh, I'm pretty sure almost nobody as a Christian has actually noticed the lack of atonement in the discussion according to Luke. There is only one place where it pops up, and it's definitely a later addition to the Gospel because it's not in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And it's not in any of the earliest manuscripts. It only pops up in a later manuscript where it mentions it. But I thought that was a pretty interesting thing in the case of Luke. He's not arguing that Jesus has died for our sins. He's arguing that people are terrible, and Jesus' death as an innocent person proves that it's terrible. So you need to get right with God because of the example of what was done to Jesus. And you
The
go,
old,
that is a very different theology.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, like it's interesting comparing Luke and Matthew because they, share quite a bit. But for example, even the virgin birth thing, but they tell a different story,
Yeah,
as well as like the nativity. Both of them bring it up, but they have a different story. So
yeah.
it's like they have their own versions.
And they're absolutely unreconcilable, no matter how people twist and turn to try and make them reconcile. Because in one story, Joseph and Mary lives in a house in Bethlehem, and then they have to leave because of
The
the
census.
King
Herod
Herod
the
wanting
Great.
to kill
Oh,
them.
King Herod.
No,
Yeah.
and in the other one, they live in Nazareth and had to go to Bethlehem because of the census.
Okay, that was
Those two
And
are
it's a
not
census
reconcilable.
where you have to go to your hometown, which kind of
Yeah,
defeats the
that's not a
purpose of
thing.
the census.
yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
that's not how censuses work, and it's not how
Yeah.
they ever worked. The only thing which is in any way similar to that is sometimes during a census you have to travel to a place where you own land to
Yeah.
let the census know that it's your land. But if they owned land, they wouldn't be wanting to stay in a manger because of that part of the story wouldn't be there. So yeah, that can't be the fact either. And also, he's a carpenter, and Mary's. How would they own land in another town days travel away? That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it's absolutely contradictory. But yeah, the back to the Emmanuel though, that has been annoying them because I think maybe it's because it is so damn obvious that the Isaiah 7 is not a messianic prophecy in any way. It just isn't. And as soon as they read it, they're in a world of pain because they have internalized this idea that Jesus is born of a virgin, and then all of a sudden, and that this is proof of his divinity, and then all of a sudden, that's not a prophecy about Jesus at all. Oops.
I get a feeling that neither Nepi nor Florida actually read Isaiah 7, like actually read it. And all they know about Isaiah 7 is from Matthew. And that, it
Yeah,
means that Jesus was born of a virgin. But just a
yeah.
plain reading of the text makes it so obvious that it
It
isn't
is not
talking
about
about
Jesus.
Jesus.
No, it's not messianic. It's it's clearly a prophecy that says, "Oh, great king, you will win this war, but it'll take you some years." And
Oh, by the way,
that's been heard.
the other interesting thing about that is like, so Ahaz was told by Isaiah, "Don't worry, this is gonna blow over by the
Yeah,
time that this kid is knows right from wrong." But he actually went to the king of Assyria and essentially pledged himself as almost a vassal state in order to have the king of Assyria go after Israel and Syria. And so the fact that those two attackers were, kind of went away was because of this diplomatic relationship he created with the king of Assyria. So it wasn't because of God doing something, but it was because Ahaz going to the king of Assyria to get support for him, and that doesn't come up. Although what the Christians will say is that that was all part of God's
God's
His
plan.
doing,
Yeah,
right?
post
Yeah,
hoc rationalization for us.
But it's like it doesn't make sense, And the thing is, like, if Ahaz actually did believe in the prophecy, he wouldn't have gone and essentially, pledged loyalty to the king of Assyria, right? He would have sat back and said, "Okay, well, God's going to take care of this."
Yeah.
I'd take it a bit lighter than that to say, because it doesn't say that God's going to kill them all off. It's just that by the time that the kid gets to that age, it'll be over. The thing that is being said there is that Jesus is is that he won't ask anything of God, and then
Yeah.
God's like, tell him to ask and ask for a sign, and the sign is that this kid will be born, and then that will happen. But yeah, it doesn't actually say that God will do the solving. So you could reasonably
Yeah,
argue
yeah, you could.
that is the thing. So yeah, I have no problem with that part of the thing. It's just one of those standard terrible, "Oh great king, you will win the war" type prophecies
Yeah. Yeah.
that you see everywhere, and that is the job of the king's soothsayer, to tell him everything's going to be fine, and coax it in such terms that you can get away with it if it takes if it's if there's some hiccups. Go, "Oh no, king, I didn't say you would win the war. I'd say the war would end." I was very
It's like
specific
those,
about that.
monkey's paw kind of thing.
Oh yeah, exactly.
um, so the other thing about the whole prophecy is that let's say Isaiah. So Isaiah is God's prophet. Why would God's prophet tell King Ahaz that sometime within the next 700 years your enemies are going to fall? I mean, like, why, right? So how
What's the
could
point of
the whole
that?
Emmanuel thing have referred to Jesus if Jesus wasn't going to be born for 700 years?
Yeah, and where was the enemies also with the birth of Jesus should have resulted in the extinction of all the people in those two nations. Should have coincided with the Jesus making it to age 5 or 10 or whatever the number happens to be. Those other nations should have become extinct, and you just go, that didn't happen. So clearly, it's one of those ones like the previous prophecy where you just take the piece out and ignore the other bit. Like, Jesus. Just ignore the part that requires that Jesus is a leper with a hunchback, and claim that each of the there's this one larger prophecy that has all these very specific elements, and you just take the elements out one at a time and say he did that, and he did that, and he had a mother. Hooray! Jesus had a mother too. Those type of and you go, look at that, he fulfilled 6 prophecies. And you go, no, they're just elements out of one, and you ignored the other bits. And if you can't get them all right, you can't. It isn't fulfilled.
Going back to what Craig said, you need a lot more than a virgin birth to prove Jesus is God. So Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think that Christianity needed Jesus to, have a
No,
virgin birth.
no, he's exactly right.
Because, I mean, like both Mark and John, neither of them mention a virgin birth.
Yeah. And it's just that, Matthew got the, he was working off a Greek translation where the word didn't quite translate properly, so he assumed it meant virgin. And he also got the tense wrong. So in Isaiah, the woman was already pregnant. She wasn't going to get pregnant with her son Isaiah. She was pregnant, and then she was going to give birth to him. So there's no indication she's a virgin, but she's also not. It's not a future tense; it's the present tense, and that is wrong in the Septuagint as well. So yes, Matthew read this story about a woman who was a virgin who was going to get pregnant, and thought, "Well, that sounds messianic," and
I mean,
then went
Matthew
from
is
there.
notorious, though,
Yeah,
throughout the book
yeah. Luke's
of
pretty
trying
bad too.
to make prophecies happen.
Yeah,
The other thing about Isaiah 7:14 is when it says in Hebrew, the tense is that you will name him, you as in second person feminine, you will name him Emmanuel. So it's not. I mean, it seems like she's actually the pregnant woman is in the room with him, but at least from my reading of kind of people's
and
analysis of that, is that it is kind of part. It's not uncommon in prophecies to kind of make use of that second person tense to make the prophecy seem more immediate. So it's not meant to say in 700 years, they will call him Emmanuel. It's right now she is pregnant, and as soon as a baby is born, will name him Emmanuel.
yeah, and you see the same thing in the prophecy of Jesus's return. When his disciples ask him, about him coming back, and say, you will see these things. You will experience
Yeah.
these things, and before you die, before your generation dies, I'll return. It's not, and obviously, then along comes John to try and clean up the fact that that prophecy didn't come true. So he had to kind of rewrite it and reinterpret the prophecy, which gives a lot of get out of jail free. But it's you. It's not
Yep.
some future. He's answering a direct question from a disciple to his disciples, and
Yeah, it's not a future of hundreds and thousands of years. It's a
it's
more
not
of
some
a
future
nearer
generation.
future.
It's this
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah.
The one you're in, the people who are asking the question. It's you.
Yeah.
So again,
Um,
it's that same language.
the other interesting question that Craig brings up is whether we would view Jesus as a cult leader. And Ook had a good response that Jesus wasn't the cult leader, but his followers started a cult. I mean, I think that's a good point.
I think it's
However,
splitting
I do
hairs.
feel like it's a cult in the sense that here's this charismatic leader who was essentially kind of doing an offshoot of Judaism, right?
Yeah,
Where he may not have necessarily called himself God. I think that might be kind of a post biblical sentiment, but
I yeah, I did.
others believed him to be God or thought that he was God, but Jesus himself may have been more. And I think you see a lot of this when you watch Dan McClellan's video, that he was saying that he's a representative of God, that he had the divine authority. Go ahead, Mark.
yeah,
Jesus was pretty much doing a John the Baptist,
Hmm.
a new version of Judaism, or a refined version of Judaism, if you
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
but in a
It's the
way, don't you think
it
that's
is
kind of cultish?
it is a cult. It is
Yeah,
definitely at the time it's a cult. It's
Yeah.
It's the way every other cult works. It's an offshoot. The Branch Davidians with David
Yep.
Koresh. He had a small group of people that he kept. Basically his teachings were based around the existing theology that they already believed, but with modification. And that's exactly what we see from the teachings of Jesus. Is that it's Judaism with new elements being added, and it's exactly what we see from Islam. It's Christianity / Judaism with new elements and reinterpretation of that, and it's exactly what we see with Mormonism. Again,
The
you take
brethren,
the existing and
Well, I
you
mean,
add extra
especially when
elements.
Jesus is saying that you have to follow all of Jewish laws.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And not only follow them, but follow them more strictly than
Mm-hmm.
even the Jewish people follow them. So not only are you not allowed to eat pork, you're not allowed to think about bacon.
Oh, I just watched a video from a guy named
Yeah.
Mindskit.
Although the other kind of cult aspect is Paul, who kind of changed a lot of what Jesus
Oh, yeah.
supposedly said.
Yeah, Paul started his own subcult within the cult, and that
Yeah.
kind of merged into it too. Yeah, there's no doubt about that, because Paul
Paul
is
was
nothing
the
like, yeah, like he
Paul was
wasn't
the
even interested in
consummate.
what Jesus had to say. Basically, remember there's that story about Paul going and talking to the disciples, and the only thing he was interested in is what Jesus was teaching about circumcision. And then he ended up deciding he wasn't going to do it anyway. He would just say what he wanted himself.
That's known as the
So,
Council of Jerusalem. That
yeah, no,
meeting. Paul
well,
was the
yeah,
consummate ad man of his time. He would have been the best advertising guru
Uh,
around.
yeah, more
He
like
really,
well,
he really knew how to spin it and make it popular.
yeah, more
Well, make the
yeah,
adjustments so that Christianity is more popular.
Yeah, and of course
uh,
you've got to
yeah.
appeal to
And
the
John did exactly
downtrodden.
the same. John did exactly the same because by the time John came along to write, he was writing mostly for Gentiles. So his theology changed. It was changed from what was in the previous three volumes to make it more friendly to the Romans, because that was his principal audience at that stage. He was not trying to convert Jews to Christianity. He was trying to convert Romans.
Because from a marketing point of view, that's a smart thing, right?
very much so. Yes.
Yeah, find your. If you can't, you need a new audience. If you've sold
Yeah.
out on the current ones, or
And
find a way to
and
sell
in
two
order
of.
to get the new audience, you can't have circumcision be a requirement.
Yeah,
Also
yeah, that's it.
pork.
You're like,
You're going to lose a lot of
not.
bacon lovers if you're going to say that you can't eat pork.
Yeah, and you go, yeah, it's non-negotiable. Go
The,
fry me in hell as long as I can fry me some bacon.
the reason why the whole pork thing became an issue in Europe was because it's the easiest domesticated animal and
Yeah, at the
best
time it was,
value for the
until the
time.
chicken came along.
Yeah, pigs were easy. They ate anything. They gave you. They were always there. They were easy.
They gave you parasites.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but they
gave you
cleaned up your
bacon.
mess and turned your mess into food,
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is exactly what chickens
including
do.
dead bodies or anything. Yeah, that didn't matter.
Yep, everything. You just throw it in, it turns it into food.
Yeah.
And the other thing
There
about
was,
the circumcision thing is like for the Romans, because they took public baths, circumcision was a big thing. It otherwise, they wouldn't have had so much controversy around it. Him and Peter fighting about it.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to say you're not of the religion if you've got the end of your dick cut off
Mm.
and you go to a public bath. I find it funny that people think that Christianity started, Judaism started the whole circumcision thing when it's been around for fucking millennia. Yeah, it's just weird.
The thing about Paul though is that almost without doubt Paul suffered from the relatively rare condition called Geschwin syndrome. There's almost no doubt that's what happened with him, because his conversion story is exactly the story of a person suffering a temporal lobe epileptic seizure. It's exactly what you see from that. And then all of the rest of the elements of the way Paul behaved are the elements of Geschwin's syndrome, as distinct from the normal version of temporal lobe epilepsy. So, you might have only had one seizure in your entire life, but that is one of the elements of Geschwin. The other part is what's called hypergraphia, which is you write and write and write and write. And what do we know about Paul?
He wrote a
He
lot.
wrote a lot, and hyper religiosity is one of them. So yes, he went from just a regular person to being hyper religious. That we know. That's described. He was essentially asexual. He wasn't interested in sex at all. That's a symptom of Geschwin. He's got this what's called circumstantiality. It's a way in which he writes, and that's seen in the way he waffles around in his writing. He keeps circling back around, circling back around, circling back around. It's a bit harder to spot that because it's you might think of it just as a literary style, but it's it's one of the elements of Geschwin. And then finally, you've got this increased mental life. So essentially, he lives in his own head a lot more. That one's again a bit harder to spot, but the elements are there. But the really big ticket items, the seizure, the hypergraphia, the hyperreligiosity, and the asexuality, they are there. They are all there, really, like front and center in his story. So he had a neurological condition that resulted in him becoming the person he was, which in a lot of ways it does make his story of his conversion actually somewhat believable, because there is a real good explanation for how it happened. How does this happen? That's how it happens. So it's an odd one, but yeah, it exists.
It's actually
it's interesting. Go ahead.
Quite common throughout the history of Christianity that certain forms of epilepsy were seen as demon possession, and certain forms were seen as God-given, inspired.
Well, that one doesn't come with shaking. That one comes with visions and a feeling of being connected to the universe.
Some of the great Irish, I've forgotten the name. Some of the great Irish scholars suffered from the same form of epilepsy. The Celtic version of Christianity, the story of that is very interesting if anyone wants to look up that, because they basically told Rome to go fuck themselves for the first 600-700 years, 1,000 years of Christianity. Irish Christianity was different. Celtic.
It'll be interesting how Christianity would have been different if it wasn't for Paul, because it is so different. What Paul, in his letters, what he advocates versus what's in the Gospels.
Yeah, it is markedly different, isn't it? It's a completely different religion, basically, and he's just piggybacked off the others, off the work which Jesus started. So, yeah, I suspect, yes, you could say that Jesus was a cult leader, but it was a small cult that would have died out without Paul
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like all the other apocalyptic cults that have been around for the last, at the time of Jesus, it had been in like 100 to 200 years. There'd been a whole pile of apocalyptic Jewish cults.
The people who
And it was
wrote the Dead
kind of
Sea
getting a bit long
Scrolls.
in the tooth.
Yeah, the people who wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls, that's another offshoot Jewish cult. Yeah, they were incredibly common, but Paul was the marketing genius who sold it to the downtrodden to be able to work it out that Gentiles could have it and appealed to the poor. It's textbook, yeah, cultish.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way for you to tell the poor, hey, it's fine. You can just take it, you know, take all the grief and the abuse now, because once you die, you're going to be the one inheriting the earth, and you'll be able
Com-
to lord it over
compare
these.
Paul's version of Christianity and the appeal to the poor and the downtrodden, and take that into certain Hindu and the sects of Buddhism. With the caste system, you poor people, be happy with what you got
Yeah.
because you'll get better in the next. It's not an uncommon idea.
Well, I mean, there's a
Hindus,
reason why Karl Marx called religion opium of the masses.
yeah.
I know, the
Oh
Marxists.
no,
You're,
communists!
oh no, you're a
Oh,
communist.
Lol.
No,
I mean,
you've
Marx
that's.
is
I mean,
bingo.
bad.
I mean, that's what I find
You're
most
a
odious about religion. Religion in general. That's what makes it most scammy to me. I mean, it is like the ult. I mean, it's the ultimate empty promise, the ultimate emptier threat.
Oh yeah.
I actually think the Hindus have got it down pat though with that caste system. It's
Yeah.
yeah, but
And
Christianity started in the same way.
All to basically it's all to enforce a dominance hierarchy.
Yep, and
Yeah,
it's
although I think if Karl Marx was alive now, he would see not religion as the opiate of the masses, but entertainment. And maybe even like social media. It's just a distraction for the masses so that they aren't thinking too deeply about their
well,
conditions.
that makes
I,
sense.
I
Yes.
tell you what, it'd be
Breadandcircuses.com.
really interesting to see what might come out of, say, a AI that has been trained to try and think as much like Marx as you possibly could, and then see what it would have as an opinion of the world. That would be interesting as hell, I think.
Oh yeah.
Feed it everything Marx ever wrote and everything anyone ever had to say about the man, and then see what, and then let it look at the world and see what its opinion would be. Oh, that would be
You mean
so.
just give it access to Marx and his related material? Because I mean, right now, most of the LLMs already have full
No, but
access
I'm
to.
talking, rather than give them all the rest of the stuff,
Mm,
focus their attention
yeah,
on just Marx to try and make the LLM think Marxian thoughts, rather than just make the LLM able to answer questions about what Marx wrote, but try and get it a little bit deeper on Marx himself, and absorb all of the general opinions about how Marx might have thought, and then get it to answer questions about what Marx would think about such and such, but with it as a focused LLM rather than a broad LLM.
yeah.
Yeah, it would be kind of interesting.
Well, it wouldn't be too hard to create if you have experience with LLMs, because I
Yeah,
mean, it's not a lot of material.
I
no,
had the thought this morning that how the Trump and other so many people seem to be focused on the Epstein files, and okay, yes, bad, needs to be looked into, but they're actually I think the Epstein files are working as a positive thing for Trump at the moment because people are so focused on that they're letting a lot of the shit that he's trying to do, or it has done, slide. It's like people are hyper focused on the Epstein and not on him dissolving defence treaties and all that sort of, and unconstitutional taxation or tariffs. It's a weird thing.
Well, you can thank our Supreme Court for knocking down some of those tariffs.
Yeah, but it's just a weird. It's like most commentators in America, political commentators, seem to have glossed over the loss of the Canada's tier 1 security rating and the Five Eyes treaty dissolving. Trump basically dissolved it all. They are decades long treaties that have held and helped stabilize the world, and yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
How people focus
that
on
might
one
be
thing.
another topic that we get into. Although
because it's like
we can't be talking
it's
about Trump every live
No.
stream.
I
Nah.
don't know, because it feels like American culture is focused on personal. I mean, it's just this. I mean, a cult. I mean, it's like we've become a culture of like just busybodies in like everybody else's personal business while
Yeah.
trying to hide our own.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
It's like I mean the way I see it, like I call it. I think of it as like Karen culture. It's like try. I mean, it's this. It's like where basically, like American culture has become something where personal responsibility and accountability is conflated with liability and fault, and thus consequences and punishment.
I just wanted to address one thing that Craig had there. My comments weren't scrolling down, so I didn't get to see the thing pop up. And he's asking their epileptic episode enacts for Paul on his road experience. Yeah, so it's mentioned in two places. I think one where he sees Jesus but doesn't hear him, and the other one's around the other way in Acts, and the other I can't remember where the other one's mentioned, but yeah, that have a read of the temporal lobe epilepsy discussion about the sorts of things that they say. So they can experience an aura, and it can be an emotional sensory, a cognitive emotional sensory experience that occurs during the beginning part of the seizure, and you can get all sorts of feelings like tastes and smells and deja vu, and yeah, it's not the usual shaking that you see from seizures that occur in the motor parts of the brain. This is in in sort of language centers and in other processing parts, so it causes different effects. So and yeah, you can get complex visual hallucinations and hear things, and yeah, it's an interesting one. So, yeah, and have a read about Geschwin. Weirdly, there isn't a link. No, there is there now. So there's a down in the sea also. There's Geschwin syndrome on Wikipedia. Have a little read about that. There's some thought that Joan of Arc might have had Geschwin as well, and saying that probably Dostoevsky had was Geschwin as well. So yeah, there was a guy in the chat at some point who I was talking to who almost certainly had Geschwin and didn't realise it. So which was
Yes, I
really
remember him.
interesting. I was talking to the guy, and I'm like, eventually, I'm like, I'm going to ask you a really personal question, but you can definitely say I refuse to answer the question if you want. But no, he didn't have any issue with it at all. He was really open and friendly. He was good. He started pretty rough, but then yeah, he got really quite good later on. But yeah, asked him, does he because he wrote huge amounts of enormous round and round and round type answers. And eventually, I thought, hang on a second. And he'd also described that when he was 14, he had this event that occurred, and put it all together. And then eventually asked him about it and asked him if he perhaps how he was with sex. Was he super motivated, not motivated, normal or not motivated? And he's like, yes, look, I understand that people do it, but for him, he felt no interest in it whatsoever. And you just go, well, there you go. What's the chance of you picking a person out of a group and happen to be the very specific question you ask of them is this sort of diagnostic question about that, and happen to get that right? I've never asked another person if they're asexual, and he's the only person, and that was the answer. So it's not like I've taken 1,000 swings at this and been right once. I've taken one swing and been right once. So yeah, it was pretty interesting.
All right,
Yeah.
so it looks like Aaron had to leave, and we're going to have to end it here as we're running up on time. But
Okay.
yeah, that's a very interesting discussion. I have to admit, I didn't really have anything prepared until the last minute. So when I read your email, Plarg, I thought we can talk about this. So,
Yeah, that
so
was a good
thanks for
one.
that. Thanks for everyone's input. And yeah, if you have anyone else have any kind of suggestions for topics, just let me know in the emails. But
Good show.
thanks.
Hit the like.
No worries. Thanks all. Enjoyed the chat.
Yeah,
Thanks
and
for
thank you, Craig, especially for a lot of interesting input and your
always great input from Craig and
As always,
Tuna.
Craig. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you're
Tuna
good with you're
Man,
very good.
thank you. And thanks to everyone on the panel, of course. So with that, we'll sign off, and we'll see everyone next week.
No worries.
Everybody.
Cheerio.
Challenge your beliefs, let the silence break the silence, shake the faith. Truth survives the hardest quake. Hold to truth, no more opaque. Reason's voice, it sings so clear through fear we hear. Cut through the noise, dissolve the fear. Rise above what you revere. No more shadows dressed as truth. Light reveals what lies uncouth. No more chains disguised as proof. Reason frees the mind uncouth. Let the evidence ascend. This is fallacy's end. Scriptures written in disguise, veiling men in holy lies. Faith without a place to land, truth that crumbles when it's scanned.